to another new episode of the Last Wave podcast. If you're new here, for some reason you're starting on this episode, we go over topics like UFOs, cryptids, conspiracy theories, hauntings, pretty much anything under the paranormal, we deal with it. Anything abnormal as well. A little ancient history, we can throw it in there, but it's all in good fun. Either way, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. So today, I'm going to go no notes, free range episode. I'm rocking it by myself today. I know the last couple episodes of season 3 have had our guest host Hunter, so it's great to have help, but I also have to do some episodes myself every now and then. So this episode is going to be, again, it's going to be free range. There's no notes, but I just wanted to talk about what I'm seeing lately. For a long time, people in our circles, the conspiracy groups, the paranormal groups, the anything like that, it was a very closed circle. You knew a few people who were into it and who you felt cool that you could talk about this stuff with. And that's pretty much the way it has been for 10, 15, 20 years that I have been researching. And what I'm starting to notice is people from all walks of life, all ages, all races, are now starting to get into these topics, especially on social media. I was not a fan and still a little bit hesitant about like TikTok and social media. Obviously, I think it's definitely like bringing our intelligence down as a whole. And I know there was some stuff about the algorithm for TikTok is in China, it promotes one thing, like, science and achievements and great things. And then in America, the algorithm allegedly puts up people dancing and whatnot and pranks and stuff like that. Whatever. As far as I'm concerned, that's also a conspiracy theory, but it's kind of a believable one. But I have since changed my mind a little bit because I've messed with TikTok for my other businesses. If you follow the Last Wave podcast and the Last Wave stuff in general, we also branch out into different things. So check us out on Facebook for sure for all of that. But so I dabble in a lot of different areas, and I talk to a lot of different people. And again, what I'm seeing on like TikTok and social media is various groups of people talking about this stuff. So, I actually, like I said, I've just been getting into TikTok, and you go to TikTok Live and you can just scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's just hundreds of people doing tarot card readings and oracle card readings, and you'll see clips of people talking about secret history and ancient knowledge and, true histories of certain religions and certain races, giants and all these different myths and stuff. And it's just, it's honestly beautiful in a way because people like in these certain groups and these close-knit communities, it's a very alone feeling. Like you feel like you don't want to, you can't really talk to people at work about this kind of stuff, or you'll feel like you're crazy. If I saw a UFO, if I saw a Bigfoot, there's always been that stigma about it. But nowadays, it's just not really there. Every channel has their own ghost show or UFO show, things of that nature. You have shows even on just the History Channel, like Curse of Oak Island, Skinwalker Ranch, obviously, which is one of the best shows as far as that type of thing I've seen in a long time. They do a lot of scientific stuff, a lot of amazing stuff comes out of that show. If you haven't seen Hunt for Skinwalker Ranch or The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, it's on History. Check it out. Could not recommend it more. You got shows like Curse of Oak Island, all these crazy ghost, or not ghost hunting shows, but like treasure hunting shows. You got everything Josh Gates does with Destination Truth, Expedition Unknown, whatever, all the stuff that he does for those TV shows. So it's kind of like, and you even now within the last few years, we've kind of been distracted by it, but the government has pretty much admitted that UFOs exist, and we don't know allegedly what they are, but the main storyline seems to be that they're a threat. Of course, it's always going to be that way, but if you really look into it, it's very possible that some are threats, some are good. There's different, just like on Earth, there's different races, things of that nature. Either way, that's another story. But what I want to get at for today is something like I was saying with people talking about these topics. It seems to be an awakening of sorts in people and just in general. It's not stigmatized to talk about these things and put pressure on our governmental bodies and our leaders to come out and tell us the truth. And, at least partial truths, because half the time we can't even get partial truths. So it seems like we're really making a lot of progress towards something. And I don't know what, but if you listen to people like Dr. Stephen Greer, who's rather famous in our communities as far as paranormal and UFO and all that stuff, he talks more about like a shift in consciousness for humanity, and I think that is more likely the next level for us. It seems like we've done, other than create cyborgs, there's really nothing else we can do at the moment with this physical frame that we currently are contained within. Other than cybernetic enhancements, or, I would say that if I am a firm believer that the current healthcare system of the world, as a majority, is not real in a sense, if you will. It's not to cure you; it's to treat you, kind of stuff. I feel like we probably could cure, and I mean just obliterate and cure much of the ailments of the world today, and then we would just be, better as a society as far as health. And but then you get into the topic and of, how long will we live? Will we just outnumber, more than our supply? And then you got to wonder, is that why they don't actually cure us? Is that why they just kind of keep us mildly sick? So we just keep on going, but we also die. So we're not going to, at least until some people are gone, like the big top scary people that are in charge. When you say they, you know what I mean? Until those people are gone and maybe a next generation can take over and can open it up a little bit, the only theoretical evolution for us is a mind one, a shift in consciousness towards something greater, something more connected. Uh, I watch stuff like what Dr. Stephen Greer was talking about with the um, just the connected consciousness, and a lot of people are talking about that, but it's saying that we're all one, and basically every life form that has this conscious sentient awareness is one. So that's why we can project our minds out and bring the aliens in. Whatever he says on that, I don't, that's one thing. But I do feel like there's a certain level of sentience to where we are conscious and we know that we are conscious and aware of things, and we have the ability to wonder about those things. So that separates us as a different life form. So maybe we can shift or evolve that, maybe open up a couple extra percentages of the brain power, that that kind of evolution. We could see, and a lot of people are saying crazy. Well, people are always saying crazy things about the future, but there is one or two, maybe more YouTube channels I've really been watching lately. But big shout out to Jay Dreamers. If you haven't seen his channel, his stuff's fantastic, and he has a really good vibe. There's also another channel someone turned me on to called Archaix, which is Archaix. That guy, I don't even know. I've watched some of his videos. My buddy told me he read like 20,000 books. The guy seems absurdly knowledgeable. The guy from the channel. So both those channels can't recommend them enough. Um, lot of good knowledge and stuff. A lot to take in. One thing, like I mentioned with Jay Dreamers, and some other people are kind of bringing this up, that something happens within our atmosphere at certain points in the history of Earth, and whether it's something that's plasma related, and what some people think happens is plasma comes up from the poles, which, assuming there is something at the North Pole and something at, Antarctica, whether it be entrances to hollow Earth or whatever, some type of plasma energy comes from the Earth, and I don't know what it's charged from, but it opens up a hole in the atmosphere, and a lot of chaotic things happen. Pole shifts, wherever these holes open up in the atmosphere, people are literally like sucked out of the atmosphere, things of that nature. But also, what happens is the Earth itself gets, from this plasma energy, gets recharged, rebuffeted, and changes. So think, again, 60. We're thinking 65, however many millions of years ago. Dinosaur times, millions and millions of years ago, where we had huge giant trees, huge giant insects, and the atmosphere was just completely different from what that was, but completely different from what it is now. Imagine that, and that happening now, and that changing the entirety of our atmosphere, maybe making it grow, maybe making it smaller. It could expand. Who knows? But it could be a very chaotic situation. And but also, what happens with that is the survivors are expected to be like reported from biblical or ancient times. They would live. They would also be charged by this energy of Earth, because we're all made from the same substance of that you can find in Earth, and we are also to be charged with that. So we'll live for hundreds of years. We'll have like demigod type strength, like your heroes of old, like Hercules and people of that nature, and we'll all be super strong, etc. But also, this kind of makes sense based on, it seems like, I mean, there's a lot of not that's a lot to unpack. I'm doing a very horrible job at describing what they call the plasma apocalypse. But either way, at the end of the day, there could be something that energizes or changes Earth. And when you talk about plasma and changing the physiology of Earth or the atmosphere, I really think about solar flares, and I've been telling people left and right. You go to Google right now. I will bet a paycheck. No, don't bet me on this. But I'd be about 98% certain there will be a article popping up saying, "Oh, new solar flare hit this week, could disrupt phone calls." I have seen one a week at least for the last 2 months. I've been telling my friends, I've been telling people in the communities, trying to figure out what's going on. And I mean, I hear people complaining about it and not realizing that they are like, "Oh man, my cell phone's out, my Wi-Fi's been on the fritz," all that stuff. That is like the smallest problem that can come from a solar flare. Like it could fry stuff. It could basically shut down your whole power grid. And with the summer coming up, I'm almost concerned that they're gonna say like a solar flare hit, and that's why we're gonna lose a bunch of power in a lot of places. But you've already got, it's just now early July, and you've got places in like Texas that are telling people don't use any energy you don't have to, because we're about to lose everything. So these solar flares mixed with the current situations, I feel like it's going to be a rough late summer for a lot of people. But I'm getting off track. This is why I make notes, everybody. So bear with me. Back to the awakening and the plasma and that type of stuff. So when you have the solar flares hit, that changes the atmosphere, that affects the magnetism of the atmosphere. That could have something to do with it, that like charges it to a point to where something happens. That could be it. It could also be, if you want to get really crazy with it, it could be another planet or a planet-sized object entering our solar system. And there's also some evidence for that, but it is, speculative, because some people are saying our axis is off a little bit, and certain things are happening that it's because the gravity is being affected in the solar system by a new body entering the solar system, and it goes to that Planet X stuff and Nibiru and all that stuff. So that's a possibility. That could be it. Um, but cut out all that and reset. It seems like something is coming, or something is currently happening, that will give us this new energy and this new consciousness and this new way of thinking. I mean, we should expect to see the powers that be try to stifle us and try to create more fear. And I think that's what we're seeing now. Is because you see, we're not even just living. We're like living through an event after an event after an event after something terrible after an event after something terrible. And that seems to be our cycle. So it's a cycle, a complete cycle of fear and desperation and anger and hate. And it's the exact opposite of what some people are coming out with and giving to the world. I see a ton of people, you know, send love, send positive vibes, send all that. So you can clearly see these two opposing forces. And pretty much anything you see in the news that is bad, like all this, I'm not even going to get into the topics, because some of the topics you can discuss would get your videos kicked off of YouTube. So I'm not even going to bring them up. But you can imagine with the last couple years, imagine how much fear and hate and anger that has been put out into the atmosphere and been put out into just the essence, the consciousness, the amount of that crap they've put into the general consciousness. And then imagine what people like, in our communities and our groups and societies are trying to do, and to put out the good energy and to give the good energy out. So it really is it's like a war, and we have to stay strong. We can't get distracted. We can't let the powers that be, whether they even mean to or not, it is clear that something in the world is putting out some type of negative energy, that causes fear, hate, anger, all these stories that are, you don't even know if they're true in the news, you don't even know if they're true on Facebook, but it's all about aggression. And that's the main point: aggression, hate, anger, fear. If we can combat that with love and togetherness and unity, then I see no reason why, the awakening can't continue and can't blossom into who knows what. But if things go well and, work out for us, then we should start to see things like increased IQs, increased telepathy. More people will start coming up and saying, hey, I do kind of feel like I have a little bit of a psychic tendency to me. People are going to start coming out with that stuff. And maybe we are seeing that with people. Now, some people are definitely just doing this for the money, and they could pick up a card and tell you what the card says for $5. They're going to do it. But there's probably quite a few of those people that are honestly, genuinely experimenting with their abilities and power. And I feel like all of us should do that. Don't be afraid to wonder and to observe and to just take a guess about your existence and your universe. Why does this thing do the thing it does? Why is it colored like it is? Why does this happen when I do this? Go experiment. Go try something. Go do something. Go learn. And to me, that the seeking of knowledge and doing it with an open mind and then passing that knowledge to someone else, that is the complete circle. If we can find a way to do that, seek the knowledge, and then take the knowledge, pass it to someone else. If we can do that for one generation, then I think we'll make it, and we will have one. So that's pretty much all I've got for this episode. There's gonna be plenty more on this. I definitely want to get into, like, you know, truth in the media and seeing movies and stuff that show us like what could be coming. Um, I also want to talk about people starting to come up with, more psychic abilities, more intuition, more things like that. So this, I'm definitely labeling this just part one. We'll definitely branch into that, whether myself or with others, as we go. But either way, man, it feels good to be back. It feels good to be back and going. Season 3, I'm expect to see some differences with the videos as far as intros. I'm trying to learn how to edit stuff as well. So awesome. We're gonna start learning new stuff and getting. It's gonna look nicer. It already looks pretty nice. I think I'm doing okay. But as always, thank you for listening. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check us out on Facebook and all the other places that the Last Wave is. The blogs, the Twitter, the Instagram, Last Wave Collectibles, all that good stuff. That's what we've got for today. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next video.